I just looked down at my phone. I said, if they ever found out about this, I would be ruined. I can't believe this happened. Why did this happen? So what I'm talking about in the story is when I was selling a house for $5 million to a client, and I'm trying to close this deal, but currently I'm having to DoorDash just to pay my bills to survive, to be able to do this deal. And they look down and it's the customer has ordered the food on DoorDash. The client who I'm currently in a deal with for $130,000 commission has ordered food, and I got their delivery out of every DoorDasher in the city. Somehow I got the order to deliver the food to the client who I'm currently working. What are they going to say when they answer the door? How am I going to explain the shame, embarrassment? What are they going to think? Are they going to freak out, want to cancel the deal? Or are they going to say, good job, we believe in you, we know you're just trying to support yourself? I froze. I didn't know what to do. I feel like it'd be important to give some backstory of how I ended up here. So I'd done real estate since 18 years old. I got licensed in high school, and I started selling and doing multi-million dollar transactions and built up a good book of business and had referral clients. And then different things, you lose momentum, you lose focus. And during 2020 to 2023, we all know what happened. And it was hard to do transactions. We were not able to meet with clients as easy. And so it got to a point where I started DoorDashing to pay the bills. And here I had a client come back who said, I want to buy this property. I showed it to him. I actually went and found the property and said, I think this would be a good fit for you. They said, let's do the deal. So get into escrow after a long process. That's a whole nother video I can go into what it took to get the deal secured. But here I am going to the appointments, going to the inspections, waiting on this big commission that's going to change my family's life, $130,000 commission around there, based on the sales price. And when I'm not up at the property, I'm door dashing to pay my current bills. And of all things, I get an order and I look down at the maps and see where it's going. It's where my client currently lives. It's their home. And now I'm having to go decide if I want to do this order or how I would ever explain this. Can I drop the food off without them seeing? Can I get out in time? All these thoughts, you have seconds to decide what you're going to do. And I panicked a little bit and ended up ultimately canceling the order because I was like, I can't take this chance. I can't cost my family the future that I'm trying to give them over one DoorDash order. It could ruin me. This one DoorDash order could literally change the course of the deal and what I'm trying to do. One of the biggest things that happens in these kind of situations is you start to question your identity. You're like, am I a realtor who sells multi-million dollar properties? Am I a DoorDasher who happens to have a past client? Where am I in this situation? And ultimately, it came down to I'm someone who's trying to thrive and make their family's life better. And you have to set your ego aside, which is not easy to do. You are currently in a position to almost make $130,000, and you're out there door dashing, and it's all in limbo. The deals can go sideways. It's not closed till it's closed, and you really have zero control. I remember, in fact, there was a point where we were back and forth with another offer. We were competing with another buyer, and I got the call that said, ultimately, we're going to sell it to the other person. Their offer just came out a little bit better than your client's offer. And I had fought for months at this point, months trying to get this transaction to a place where it could go through. And you hear a gut punch. Like I was actually out doing a DoorDash when I got the call, and it was rainy. I remember it was rainy. I just pulled over and I said, I've just lost $130,000 commission. And I started crying because those type of doors don't open that often. And even if you're someone who sells homes like that all the time and you're making that money, I wasn't in that position. This is what I needed during 2020 and 2023 to really um, help relaunch the business. And here it is falling apart in front of me. And it felt like I had no control, absolutely none. And I panicked. I got scared and I didn't know what to do. And that was a huge lesson I got out of this is momentum can be gone quickly. When you're having success, when you're playing sports and you're on top of the world, you're doing business deals and everything's going right, your marriage is going great, momentum can change quickly. And often people don't see behind the scenes. They see, wow, look at that football player. He's got everything together. Meanwhile, his life's terrible. Not all of them are terrible. I'm saying, though, we often think because people on the outside have everything together, that their whole life must be together. And often life is in compartments. One part is doing really good, two parts are maybe not doing as good, three parts are doing great, one part's really struggling. And it's just constantly trying to get that harmony back to the middle ground where they're all doing pretty good. And that's what we're chasing. But if someone looked at me, they would have said, wow, look at this great transaction you're doing. You're about to make this huge commission. Yeah, I'm out DoorDashing while you're thinking about that, just to pay the bills and the gas to get up there to do the deal. One part for me, though, that's very important to share is I believe God played a huge part in this deal and my relationship with Jesus. And that's not in any way to say I think He handed me a check or He said, your blessings for me is money. No, I think the blessing is the faithfulness. I think He is faithful to provide. That's clear in the Bible, that He's faithful to provide. And so for us personally, when I looked at this deal and I had lost it, I got the call saying that we've gone with another buyer. You've lost the commission. I just prayed and I prayed and I said, Lord, I don't want the miracle to be you giving me this deal. I just want to understand what you have for me in this season, what my next steps are. And I heard Him say, I need to see your faithfulness. I need to see that you're going to be able to trust me even when there is no result in sight. And I heard just the words of, it's going to fall like the walls of Jericho. And so I said, okay, well, how does that look? And I heard Him say, you need to drive around the property 7 times. And it's a private property. There's not even roads in the back. So I said, well, how can I do this? And it was, okay, you're going to do the equivalent of what that would be. And so I would go up there, and He said 7 times around in 7 days. And so I'd go up there whenever I was in between DoorDash orders, and I drove around the front equal times of what I thought would be around. And I just prayed. I said, Lord, what are you teaching me in this? And even if the deal doesn't come, I want to have this faithfulness to do what you're asking me. And I remember towards the end when I finished up, I got a call and said, hey, the other deal's falling apart. They're not the buyers we thought. They're not performing the way we thought. Is your buyer still interested? And I'm as shocked as anyone, saying, Lord, only your hand can be on this. And it went into the deal and we ended up closing. It was a huge transition. But also part of that, what I didn't say was, um, he asked me to be faithful with the money as part of this. And so a big part of what we committed for before we even had the deal was a tithing on that, and also an additional gift. There was this very specific ministry in town that we were connected with and knew. I said, Lord, we're going to go above and beyond any gifts you give, whether it's this deal, another deal. I don't know where the money's coming from, but any money we have come in, we'll be faithful with. So we were very blessed to be able to do that. The first fruits right off the deal, as soon as we got the check, was tithing, and then also sowing into that ministry, which was a huge gift from them. We got reached out from the person who ran that and said just how big of a gift that was for them at that time that they needed.